I love the smell of commerce in the morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups. It's PCP movie night. Tonight, we're talking about a movie. Tonight, we're talking about Mallrats, which was the winner of the Audience Choice PCP Army movie poll. So you guys picked everything on the list. Y'all voted, and Mallrats is the winner. 1995, Kevin Smith, a really favorite movie of mine. I loved it back in my high school years. And on the revisit, I mean, I still like the film. You know, I think it captures a moment in time for me and just for life. We got a lot of fun, exciting people here to chat about the movie, including Jelani. What's up, Jelani?
What's up, guys? Snoochie Boochies.
Yeah, the TS
How's
to
it
my
going,
Brody,
man?
the J to my Silent Bob. It's Jelani. How are you doing?
What up, man? I'm doing well. Can't complain, man. From one of my favorite films. This is an awesome watch. So,
Yes.
yeah, very glad to be here to talk about it.
We also have, for the first time on PCP Movie Night, joining us, comic book writer, editor extraordinaire, Joe Corallo. What's up, Joe?
Snoogans.
Nice. Hell yeah, man.
Nice.
Excited to have you here to talk about Mallrats.
This is great. I mean, again, this is one of those movies that, you know, I watched in high school. You know, I watched Clerks. I watched this, and you know, I'll save more of those details into the discussion. But you know, it was one of those things where it's like, ooh, I'm getting into film. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of getting into film, Brooks has been getting into film lately, right? Yeah. What's up, Brooks? How you doing?
Pretty good.
It's always good to have you here. You excited to talk about Mallrats?
You bet.
Nice. Kevin Smith film. Second Kevin Smith film, right after Clerks, like directly after, right?
Yep.
So basically, Kevin Smith makes an indie hit, Clerks, very, very great movie. And then he sells out and does this movie for Universal or whatever. But no, I think this movie's awesome. Like, I remember watching it for the first time, renting it from Blockbuster with my friends Abe and George, I believe. And back in those days, like Joe said, I was discovering film. So we would just go to the comedy and the horror sections and find movies that were written and directed by the same person. That was like my very first criteria. And so like I that's how we found this movie, which led us to Clerks and Chasing Amy, and just got absorbed into the US universe. Kevin Smith was somebody who I kind of idolized a lot in the 90s. For some reason. But I mean, because these movies are great. I loved how they were connected. And I love Mallrats. Mallrats has a character in it, Brody, that I think is very much like me in my early 20s. I love all the zany natures of it. I loved having a movie that referenced being a comic book fan, you know, and like actually portraying that in a real light. Like Brody still, at least he is to me, kind of cool. He's a douchebag, but he's kind of cool. But he's into comics and stuff. And the movie's not presenting that getting into comics and being into that stuff is what's wrong. But it's about the prioritization of it. And we'll get into all that later. So
just because a guy reads comics, he can't start some shit?
that's like one of my I want to get that tattooed on my arm, man. But this movie's got so many quotable lines. It's got great performances by, I mean, Jason Lee. Like I just loved Jason Lee's career in the 90s. Ben Affleck, Shannon Doherty, Jeremy London, not Jason. Which always confused me because I was like, oh, they got this, like half the cast today is confused. Like, no, it's his twin brother. But a really great cast, Jay and Silent Bob. I loved this movie then on the rewatch. I still loved it. I got the Arrow edition right there. And yes, everybody, I got the slip. So you got that reversible cover. I love this movie. This is a great edition. It's got the extended edition, which adds in all the governor's stuff again, the original cut of the film. I think the theatrical cut is better, but this also has a made-for-TV cut, which is hilariously dubbed. Delaney, overall, your experiences on this film.
Man, I absolutely adore this film. This film still holds the record for movie I watched again immediately after I saw it the first time. I love this movie. It's my favorite Kevin Smith film. It's just so it's dumb, but it's like great dumb. It's elegant dumb. And this is the first time I ever watched the extended cut with the governor assassination plot. It is a little bit longer, and it does drag out a few things that don't need to be, or things that you see in the theatrical cut. I do think the theatrical cut is much better. Basically, the Argento cut of Mallrats is too long. So, but it's still a great film. It's so quotable. I love all the characters. I love everything about it. Like it's vulgar. It's where it needs to be. It's got Stan Lee in it. Stan Lee for me, I know it's not a fan of others, but I love the fact Stan Lee's in this film. I love his little random cameo. I love Priscilla Barnes. Thank you, Priscilla Barnes. And just really cool things in this movie. And I of course love the ending song of Suzanne by Weezer. Suzanne.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites. I know we're talking about the music, but that I just gotta get that out of the way. Suzanne is one of my favorite Weezer songs. And it's such everything comes together in this film. I know it didn't do well at the box office. Not really many people did it, but I know it's a cult hit.
Yeah,
because I watched it on video the first time I got it from Hollywood Video, and I was like I've been in college. I was in college, and this is the first time I saw it. And then I saw it, and then had to watch it again because I laughed so much. I didn't know I was going to laugh that much in the movie. So I had a lot of fun with it on this rewatch, especially with this new version. I had a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, it tanked. It came and went and made, like they said, that Clerks made more money than Mallrats on like significantly less screens, like 10% like of the screens that Mallrats debuted on. But you know, at this time in the 90s, I don't know, this idea of this raunchy, vulgar comedy, I think it was kind of phasing out. I feel like studios didn't know what to do with things like Mallrats. I feel like a lot of studios that get involved with Kevin Smith properties, like when ABC did that Clerks animated series, which I thought was brilliant, but like great. They like at one point Kevin says, like, do you even realize what you bought when you said, yeah, do a Clerks animated series? Because you're fighting with us about this. But I think it's cool because
like Comedy Central.
It's a studio Kevin Smith film, you know, and it's like, you can tell that it's because it's got that, you know, we'll talk about the music, but it's got that cheesy, like just like studio music, you know, like in it throughout. Yeah. But it's really, I don't know. It's like one of the last of its breeds, and it did not do well at first, but it definitely has become a cult favorite. What about you, Joe? What did you think of this film overall?
No, for sure. I mean, well, I worked at a Hollywood Video from 2002 to 2007. So
hey,
yeah. But
me and Joanne.
Nice, amazing. But yeah, I saw this in high school with Clerks. I think I watched those two before my friends and I went to see Dogma in theaters, and like we were just getting into all of that and the idea of a View Askew-averse and all of that. And I mean, this was, you know, for me, the first time being like, wow, these are movies that are like interconnected in these characters, but they're not, like, just the idea of movies that weren't these like direct sequels that had the same characters in them was kind of like, at least was new to me at the time.
A cinematic universe.
Yeah.
A View Askew-averse.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that whole thing, and, you know, your mind being blown like, oh, that's the same girl who died. They went to the wake, who they're talking about in the beginning, who died from the
embolism.
Yeah, like that, all that stuff.
That's not another cut. Boo.
Yeah, I mean the everything about it. Again, how quotable it is. I mean, for years, that kid's back on the escalator. You know, the
sailboat.
Yeah, sailboat. Yeah, schooner is a sailboat.
Schooner is a sailboat. You dumb bastard.
Just all that stuff, all the you know, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've watched it over the years. The first real substantive Stan Lee cameo, because before this he was in that the Incredible Hulk, like Thor, Daredevil, stupid movie, and like The Jury. But like here, you know, he has lines, like, and it's not even like a real cameo, because I think he has more than 5 lines. I think it's more than like an under 5 kind of appearance on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a whole scene, and he talks to TS in the extended cut. So it's like, it's a little longer. And he gets to say Excelsior. or I'm sorry, TS gives himself, it's like, Excelsior. And he's like, you got that right. I love the extended cut for that.
It's good stuff. And this is Kevin Smith. introduced a lot of this kind of stuff. I feel like between like Kevin Smith and like Quentin Tarantino and some other directors around then started bringing some of these aspects of like either nerd culture or obscure pop culture kind of references into the mainstream. Like it's almost to his detriment in the future, because now you try to show someone Clerks or Mallrats, now they're going to be rolling their eyes like, of course I know who Wolverine is. That's not, Wolverine sticks. Like some of that stuff now, if you weren't watching it at the time, comes off as like kind of cringy, because you're like, oh God, what are these nerds? Like I know who these characters are. Yeah. Like you don't have to make a big deal out of it, or in Clerks with the whole Death Star explosion, independent contractors argument, like that kind of stuff. Now it's been so accepted that what Kevin Smith did in hindsight looks like, oh, that's not interesting. What are you doing? So
he did it before it was cool.
Yeah. So he almost made like himself obsolete in a way because of the success of these films, which is weird.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. But I remember like back in the days, like when you're watching Reservoir Dogs for the first time and the guy's trying to describe I don't remember, was that guy just named Joe, I think? But like, he's like, he's like the Thing. And I was just like, oh my God, they're talking about the Fantastic Four. Yeah. That was mind boggling then. Now everybody does this. This is like pop culture's now hit this point where it's always self-referencing itself. It's just this like repetitive loop. And that's why there's so much dissonance in it, right? Or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But no, really cool. And that was that interconnectedness, like making that connection that, oh my goodness, that is the woman that dies that they went to the funeral for in Clerks, that they're connected. Oh, she says Rick Darris. She says she fucked Rick Darris on the pool table. That's the dude that we saw in Clerks that was hitting on, the other chick. And then, is it Trish? Trish Jones is in this film, right? Her sister's Alyssa from Chasing Amy. Like that's, I love all this. I love it all. And we used to love just mapping it out.
No, it's great. Yeah. And the funny thing too, when we were talking about this, and when you asked me, I mentioned this to you, like, privately, that it was such a weird coincidence because I had just watched for another podcast a Christmas movie that starred Shannon Doherty, Christmas Caper. And it was like shortly after that, like within a day. And I'm like, I just watched a Shannon Doherty film.
Brenda?
Like, it's so weird. Yeah.
Speaking of Shannon Doherty, her biggest fan is here. It's Brooks. Brooks, what did you think about Mallrats on the rewatch and overall?
I liked it. I thought it was still really funny. Mallrats was a movie like I wasn't familiar with, but I remembered like in high school I was reading like a lot of Marvel comics, X-Men and stuff, and I remember there being ads for it in them because they had the but I never like watched it until like I was a big Kevin Smith guy, the Smith movies, and Mallrats was one that I really liked. It's kind of like it's like the definitive Gen Xer kind of movie, I guess. It kind of embodies the spirit of how it was back then, especially with the mall. The mall was like a big thing. Everybody's like, let's go to the mall. Like, if you don't have anything better to do, just go to the mall. Like, not shop or anything, just walk around, just waste time. But yeah, and like the whole attitude, of like, we just didn't care about anything back then.
I mean, that basically puts it right. We didn't care. These characters are, Brody's in Arrested Development. TS is like literally caused the death of this woman and can't recognize how that's impacting everything, and is just still so set on this juvenile ideal of proposing to the love of his life as Jaws pops out of the water, which is just still the greatest bit. It's the most romantic thing I've ever heard. But it's one of those movies with characters that should be unlikable, but they're still lovable for me. And like, that's why Jay works for me. He's got an innocence about him that maybe TS and Brody don't. Also a lot of Jaws references in this movie. But I loved this movie growing up, and I loved it on the rewatch. And Brooks, you just nailed it right there. And so I really, really appreciate that. So let's talk about our favorite characters and performances. I'm just going to say Brody. Brody is pretty much me at like 19 to 23, I would say. seriously, like my comics were my number one thing. Like they know I lost a girlfriend one time because she called me on a Wednesday and I was like, yo, what you doing? Like, this is new comic book day. Like, I'll call you when I'm done. And I've eased up a little bit, but still don't mess with me on new comic book day. But no, like I was into comics. I wasn't really taking full responsibility for things. Brody's someone I related to and his journey in this film. And I love how Stan Lee, and I am a fan of Stan Lee, Jelani. Don't get that wrong. I'm also a fan of Jack Kirby. I wish Jack Kirby could have been in this movie, but he was no longer around, really. But Stan Lee has a great moment here, and it was nice to see like a real hero behind the scenes for Brody to kind of sink his thing home. Now it's weird in hindsight to really root for either TS or Brody in this movie because kind of douchebags and they really shouldn't get the girls by the end of the movie. You know what I'm saying? They really shouldn't. This is a movie that like I don't think really could be made much today. But it does to me kind of encapsulate a time, and whether it's what it was like in 1995 and going to the mall, the music in the film, the fashion, their discussions. That's me and my friends at the food court eating pretzels, having discussions about the things Dick or how Superman could impregnate Lois. And look, we got Jonathan Kent, so they figured that out, right? Kevin Smith may have started that. He may be the reason for Jonathan Kent, but it does encapsulate a time in my life that makes me think of my friends and going to the mall and just doing all this kind of stuff. Way different time nowadays. For us, of course, we're getting a little bit older. But Brody is a character I really liked. I started following Jason Lee. I thought he did a really great job. His character to me, though, was so relatable, and that's why in a whole ensemble of amazing characters, I got to throw him out. But my second one would be that asshole from Fashionable Male. I thought he did a great job, and I do have a bit of a crush on Ben Affleck. Jelani, what's a character you'd like to spotlight?
Well, not that asshole from Fashionable Male. We'll pass on that. He's always a dick in movies. Have you noticed that? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay,
play
anyway.
your strengths, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Either way, at first, after watching it for the first time in like 5 years, I was going to say Brody Bruce is my favorite character in this movie. He is, I mean, he's the quintessential main character, even though TS is here, but he's the weird will-to-do guy. But as I watched the extended cut, and now that I've seen the entire story play out, my favorite character now is Doug Spinning. It has to be Michael Rooker. It has to be Michael Rooker because basically he got screwed. He got screwed really bad. Now, in the extended cut, like, of course, the assassination attempt, all he was doing is just kissing ass to the governor so he could get funding, so he could get picked up by a network for his lame TV show. It probably wouldn't have worked. It probably wouldn't have happened that way. But he was still trying to work and, like, do, the right thing. He wasn't being a dick. He was just, whatever. And then TS totally screws that up. On accident, though. But it's totally screwed up. So why he's mad in the theatrical cut, I was wondering why he was like mad. He was just mad because he was dating his daughter. But like it's so much more in the extended cut because like he screwed him out of money. Like a lot of money. So he's like really pissed. So now that I've seen it, I like Doug. I don't know. I kind of feel for him. I don't know what it is about it.
Well, he's definitely an asshole though, right? So he does even in the theatrical cut, it works just him being the obstacle of the really grumpy father of the person that you're trying to date, right?
Right.
And he plays it so well.
When he like takes TS, he's like, my daughter is too good for you.
Too good for you.
Yeah, that lets you know the motivation is more.
His motivation is all there, and I'm like,
he is playing Lex Luthor. That's why you went bald for it too.
That's so cool,
That's
and I like him as a character now. I really appreciate him as a character now.
He's
I
great,
don't know why.
dude.
I love Michael Rooker anyway.
That was my first taste of Michael Rooker, man, and I'm glad to see how he's kind of been more embraced by nerd culture through things like Walking Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's really cool because now it'd be easy to meet him.
Tombstone.
And he is in Tombstone, you know,
He is in Tombstone.
and it just means it's more plausible that I could meet him one day at a con and get him to sign a bag of chocolate covered pretzels, which has always been a dream of mine. So good pick, Michael Rooker. By the way, with TS and Brody, do you not get I've always got the sense in this movie, and when I wrote my first movie, which was Skip Day, which was basically a copy of Mallrats, but slightly, you guys remember Skip Day, and my characters were Twiz and BS instead of Brody and TS, right? But I did the same trick. But do you notice how like TS is the audience, because I'm like, so Brody and TS are best friends, but it seems like he doesn't know anything about Brody's life or his friends, because he's always introducing these people to him. Which I think is fun. Joe, what's a character you'd like to highlight?
Oh, geez, there are so many. I feel like there's got to be a special shout out to LaFours for somehow talking less than Silent Bob.
Yeah,
he doesn't talk.
He doesn't talk at all. Whereas Silent Bob has he always has like a line or a word or two to say in these movies. But LaFours plays it completely straight. I love Shannon Doherty. It's like you understand why she's the star of the next movie. She steals the show in every scene she's in, even though she's not that important to the plot.
Yeah. She's given some of the best delivery
in every scene.
Yeah. She's given some, like London's delivery is kind of weak, right? And Jason Lee, I think this was his first movie. He was just a skateboarder, right?
Yeah.
But Kevin Smith does write good dialogue at this time. I think the Clerks dialogue's better, but Shannon delivered it, I think, the best in the film.
No, she is.
She does nail it.
She's amazing in this, in a way that's like, like it's above where a lot of the other movie is. Not a knock on the movie, but it's like in terms of where everyone else is, it's like, oh wow, she's like an actress.
Yeah.
Whereas one of the other things here,
she's top billing. She's top billing in the movie.
Which makes sense, but it's almost like the opposite of Brandy in this movie, because she is such a pushover, and it like kills it. Like rewatching it, and I mean, I always kind of felt she was like wishy-washy. Like the movie doesn't do enough to make it make sense that she's just kind of like, oh, well, you ruined my father and embarrassed me and my father and everyone in front of a bunch of executives. And, but whatever, sure. I'll get back.
You. Yeah.
Are you talking about Claire Filani now?
Yeah, it's
the movie killer.
It's just
the movie killer.
Brandy is a pushover, man.
Yeah, she really... And it could have been remedied by like one or two scenes that really established how much, like, we don't get a scene where we really see them loving each other.
Yes.
Extended cut, you do. You kind of at the very beginning.
You keep bringing up this, but that's an alternate universe take, bro. That's Elseworlds, man. That's not this movie, because the whole thing changed.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
But that's the kind of thing where you needed a scene like that in this movie to understand it, because you're kind of like, okay, the first time we see them in, the theatrical cut, it's like they're already like kind of like, oh, I don't know, my dad doesn't want me to see you, and like he's kind of being a dick about it. And that's kind of all we really get from them until more or less the end of the movie. And we really needed like that. The movie needed to either like start with a nice date. We needed to establish the stakes of the film.
Yeah,
right.
You needed
Brody. You only see Brody and Brian.
Yeah, and, which I thought was great.
And Brenda. Brenda.
That was a great scene. I love that whole bit with Brody, but it's like it felt like Kevin Smith felt like he needed to have a TS character in the movie, but that his heart was really into Brody. And Brody feels like he has a more satisfying character arc by the end of the film, because we spend so much time from like Brody's POV and going through what he's dealing with, and he's the one who kind of has more courage than TS, and TS kind of follows along. And it's like you should have adjusted the film a little bit and really just honed in on it really being about Brody.
Yeah.
But instead it felt like, and I mean, this could be, studio interference, like, well, Brody's too weird. We need a down-to-earth guy that people can relate to. And
yeah,
you got to focus on that character. But like, it seemed to be to the detriment of the film. It's like, if you're going to do that, show us them liking each other. Show us, TS and Brandy on a nice date. Do like a flashback, maybe in the middle of the movie or something, where we see how much they really care about each other. Maybe, TS has like a letter from Brandy when they were first dating, or a picture that he like keeps in his pocket. Like, there's little things you can do to inform the audience that, like, okay, there are stakes here. Like, he really loves her, but the way it's done in the movie doesn't sell it.
Yeah, it doesn't sell it. And really all that you get from that as far as development is that the exposition stuff where Gwen's talking to Brandy about, he was a great guy. If you don't go after him, I'm going to go after him. And it's just kind of building up the character, and we don't get to see it. And Jelani is right. They do start the initial version of the movie with them like in like this very lovey scene. They're being like, she's looking at the stars for her college course or whatever, and he's dressed up to do this thing at the governor's ball, and he accidentally, while they're making out, shoots at the governor by accident, and then causes this whole commotion. But that movie took like 40 minutes to get to the damn mall, and the movie's called Mallrats, but they had to cut it down. Yeah. But yeah, good observations, man. And yeah, Shannon Doherty is really, really high class in this movie. And I actually can feel her love for Brody, even as unlikable as he is. And you do get a more satisfying arc from him. Like, you feel like he learns from things. And you find out in the rest of the movies later on that he goes off and he has his own comic shop, and he's successful and happy, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Brooks, what about you? Character you'd like to highlight?
I like Gwen. Gwen is like, because like her whole introduction in the movie is when Silent Bob, like, he fucks up the first attempt, and his head bashes through the dressing room door.
There's some fun visual bits.
She's like, fuck her. And she bashes Silent Bob, and then later on she bashes TS too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, hot.
Was this during the time where Kevin and Joey Lauren Adams were dating? Was this at that time?
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they were broken up when they were making Chasing Amy, though, which I think added to the drama in that film, to be honest.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Gwendolyn's an interesting pick.
A worldliness, I guess you could say, about her too. Like a lot of the TS and Brandy relationships actually kind of explained through her.
Yeah.
And like how, her relationship with TS was like kind of the opposite of how it is between him and Brandy, because like she just fucking cheated on him all the time.
Yeah. On a gaming table, no less.
Like when Brandy calls her out for that, she's like, "Oh, the discretions of youth,"
How often do you see Smokey fuck the bandit or something like that, right?
I did look just like Burt Reynolds, right? Not the mustache.
Except for the mustache. That's a good one. All right, well, here's one that I'm surprised didn't get mentioned. Jay and Silent Bob. So let's run over this real quick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the first movie I saw with those characters. So I had no idea who Jay and Silent Bob were, and I think most people didn't. Clerks. Not a lot of people saw Clerks. We weren't all as privileged as Joe to watch Clerks in the theater, right? But I going back and watching Clerks, like, wow. But like, this is one of their most grandiose performances, I think. Like, they get a lot of screen time. Jay, they wanted to recast everybody, right? And so they didn't want a Jason Mewes, right? They had Seth Green they wanted for Jay, and Kevin fought for Jason, and Jason apparently like cleaned up a little bit and just really gave it his all. I think this is one of their best performances in all of the films that they're in. They're in there just enough They're funny. It's cute. It's exactly what Jay and Silent Bob should be, and I loved it. So, quick thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob, Jelani?
Oh, I love them this film. Oh God, them trying to bust at the stage is like some of the funniest stuff ever.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that like Silent Bob is still trying to do the Jedi mind trick and has all this and still has all the not mind trick but the levitation or whatever, and then the fact he has all the Batman stuff. I love how he loves Batman and he has a utility belt and wings. It's so clean. I don't know. I love both of them, how they kick ass on the Easter Bunny, because they're loyal friends. They're loyal friends, and when Brody tells them he got his ass kicked by the Easter Bunny, they immediately take care of it. I'm like, that's awesome.
For Brody.
Yeah, this is for Brody.
They're
And
down,
like,
man.
Yeah, they're really down friends. I really like their entire arc in this. I love everything about it. I even love what he says. What Silent Bob says at the end. He's like, "Yeah, it's a Jedi mind trick." He quotes the line from Yoda.
Adventure, excitement.
Jedi craze
not these things. And I love that, man. I love how it's all put together. They had a great arc in this film. And
Nice.
It's really love it, man.
Absolutely.
I love this movie, so I love all the characters in it.
My favorite Silent Bob line is probably in Clerks. I just thought that lasagna bit was great. Joe, thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob in the film?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I enjoyed the pretty natural rapport they had right off the bat with Jason Lee.
Yeah,
you know, you would have thought that Jason Lee was in Clerks if you hadn't seen it, because they were really good, especially Jason Lee and Jason Mewes. I loved that, and just it felt authentic. It felt like these are two douchebags I don't want to deal with at the mall.
They're Mallrats.
Those are they're two guys. If you were at the mall with your friends and they were like hanging out off to the side, maybe you walk a little faster and you're like, I don't want any part of that. But
right.
but yeah, they were great. I love the bit with where they have like all the schematics out in particular, just like those shots. That the whole bit with the utility belt and the bat got the grappling hook. What is it? Yes.
Look what the Blu-ray comes with. How cool is that?
Schematics. Oh, which plan?
It's both of them.
It's both.
It also comes with the Magic Eye puzzle.
That's great.
What was that?
That's nice.
This one is the initial one that was in comic books. It just says Mallrats.
Oh, okay.
That's all. It's just the movie logo. Brooks, what about you? Thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob?
I like them in this movie. They're certainly less crude than they were in Clerks.
Yeah.
Especially Jay. They're a little more goofy, a little
more slapsticky
down. But most of their dialogue, they have a lot of the pop culture references in this movie. They're coming from Jay and Silent Bob, the Kneel Before Zod, the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
Like where do you get these wonderful toys?
Yes.
It's like Jay and Silent Bob are like that's where he threw a lot of his pop culture references, I think. And I like the scheme that they're like, they have this ongoing scheme to basically sabotage this thing for no other reason than what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
They're like, we were going to do that anyway.
Bob kind of attitude to have.
That's one of my favorite ones. Like, we was going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
What else are we going to do?
that was so good.
All right.
No, it's great. But yeah, I mean, they are goofier and less vulgar, which is like, you see the sliding scale here where eventually they're just selling fireworks in a cartoon.
Yes.
Could blow your hand off and shit.
These guys want to buy some fireworks. I love that. They said that's because the network's like, they can't sell drugs. They're like they're drug dealers. Yeah, and they're like,
you can say a building looks like a bong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
But I mean, you know, and it's weird because that was better than what was it? Jim Brewer as Randall in the live action
Oh my
pilot.
goodness. Yes, that was so weird. I've seen that. It's on YouTube, y'all.
It
Y'all,
is.
you gotta check it out.
I've seen it like twice
Oh,
because
God.
yeah, I you know, it's just one of those things you see and you're like, I got to see it again or it's not real.
Exactly. If you've never seen that pilot for the Clerks sitcom, you definitely need to. It's wild.
Yeah, it's
They used
like
Jim Brewer for who?
they missed the mark like so thoroughly. Like it's astounding.
Yeah. Kevin Smith
It's-
didn't have much to do with it, y'all. Just so you know, I
No.
don't think like at all. Like it was something like it was such a weird. You just need to check it out. It's a really nice thing to do. Let's talk about Kevin Smith. Let's talk about the style and structure of the film. I think it's pretty well written. Again, like he's not. I think Clerks. The script for Clerks is amazing. I cannot believe he's kind of got this Kevin Williamson vibe where people that shouldn't have the vocabulary that gets put on display, they do, and they usually deliver it. And sometimes it's a weird delivery, but I really like it. And Clerks, a lot of what made Clerks work is in Mallrats, but I do feel like it's a little studioed up, a little simplified, a little dumbed down. But I like the look of the film. They filmed at that mall, I guess, after hours, kind of like they did Dawn of the Dead or whatever. I think it's so freaking clever. All the damn store names, Buy Me Toys, Rug Munchers, like all this stuff, like all these weird ass names. There's one that's like one potato, two potato, like that's like a name of one of the food court places. So I like the look. It really makes me remember. Jelani and Brooks will know this reference, but Madison Square Mall, you know, in the 90s, and I'm sure Joe's been to a mall in the 90s. That's what it looks like.
Oh,
you know? And like they
mall.
fit it. So the look is there. I think the pacing of the theatrical cut is nailed. I think it's a nicely paced film. It doesn't feel like it takes too long. It gets right to everything. Everything has enough time, whether it makes sense or not, or whether or not it has the ultimate effect. The dialogue is still there, but it's a little bit more watered down. But overall, I do like it, and it does shine some of, I think, Kevin Smith's like highlights in his writing ability, which to me is interesting characters and great dialogue and funny little quirky things. What about you, Jelani? Style, structure of the film?
Oh yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, this film has it's greatly paced. I think the theatrical cut does it a lot better. It's cleaner, even though there are things in it that you don't understand until you watch the full thing. But it still kind of makes more sense. I like everyone. I mean, I like everyone that says something in this film. The kids are great in this film, and my stance on kids in film, and all of them do their job, even the kid on the escalator. So I mean, it's a well-rounded movie. It's one of my all-time favorite films, and it's done well to where I love the store names. I love how like Brody had no clue that Stan Lee was in this mall. Like nowadays, he would have known like a month in advance and probably been the first one in line.
Oh yeah,
because of the internet and social media, it'd have been done. But I love a lot of stuff is dated. It feels dated, but it doesn't. It is a slice of life in a mall.
tell him, Steve, Dave.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta ask me nicely. I must be slipping in my old age. I love it.
Special. But yeah, it's well paced. I love everything about this film. So I can't really, it's very well done, and the dialogue is fantastic. I think it is really well done. Brody has the best line delivery next to, of course, Shannon Doherty, and Shannon Doherty in the breakup scene. That's her monologue.
It's so fucking sad for her. Like this movie starts, you're like, this just like, and the end of the film, you're like, I'm sorry, honey, it does not get better for you.
No, it doesn't.
Like you should have just kept on going.
The thing is, she tries to give him a chance too. She gives him an out. Like all he had to do was get up and make her breakfast, and like she probably would have just kept the letter and
breakfast,
breakfast. Hartford, the whale.
This only happens anyway. Joe, what do you think about the style and structure of the film?
No, I mean, I really enjoy it. Comparing it to Clerks again, like, it's interesting because so much of the cinematography is similar. Just, with the higher budget. The thing I miss compared to Clerks is again that more indie feel with like the how they score it, and even though it's more raw in Clerks, I like that more. And I wish there was like an edit of this film where they had more of a raw soundtrack, because I think that would actually amplify the film.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I loved how they had actual comic artists doing those fake covers for the beginning montage in the film.
Some big ass names nowadays, right?
Huge names. They Scott Campbell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mike Allred. Those were
I love the Mike Allred one. I would like a poster for that one.
Awesome.
I mean, this movie predicted Batfleck with Buttman.
It sure did.
The Buttman Adventures.
That. I love the Squirt Gun song. Anyway, I know we're going to get into the music more specifically in a bit, but just the whole way it was filmed, it was very inviting. It wasn't necessarily good at establishing like where you are. Like the mall itself, like you're watching, especially with the theatrical cut, which is the one I watched before coming on here, and maybe the other cuts, it's a little better, but you never get a true feeling of where things are in the mall and where this is in relation to like where they live and stuff like that. Like, which isn't necessarily a negative thing, but it's something that stands out a little bit. I'm like, I really have no sense of place of where any of these things are or where they're taking place or anything like that, because it's so character focused. There aren't a lot of establishment shots throughout to kind of guide you through the mall. Like they have like montage cuts of like, oh, this shop, or like we're outside the mall and do stuff like that. But there's not a lot of like kind of guiding you through it. You don't really have an idea of the map of the mall as it's going through. But no, it's similar cinematography, but like amped up a little bit. It's a little more there are definitely certain shots and things that they're doing in this movie that he couldn't have done in Clerks.
Yeah.
Like the whole bit where Silent Bob escapes, and that cute little bit where Jason Mewes has to hold him as they escape and all that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's adorable. But
those wonderful toys.
Yeah, that whole thing and just like the setup of everything. But yeah, it's interesting. And another thing too, he's admittedly stole a lot from like Animal House. That whole reference where Michael Rooker like grabs the guy and like pulls him down.
Yeah.
That's a shot for shot bit from Animal House. So you do have, which is interesting in playing off what you were saying before, Robbie, about you making a film and early on just sort of aping off a lot of something like Mallrats. This is still early in his career. This is like pretty much his first like big film.
Yeah.
And so he is aping off of Animal House, which was a big influence on him at the time. So it's interesting to see those sort of through lines in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely, really cool stuff.
John Landis, doesn't he? In the credits.
Oh, does he? Probably.
He thanks John Landis. He thanks John Landis, and he thanks what's his Breakfast Club guy. What's his name?
John Hughes.
There you go, John Hughes. There you go.
Yeah, he's a John Hughes fan. So is James Silent Bob.
Yeah. So he thanked both of them in the credits. Yeah, he thanked both of them in the credits. It was great.
Yeah.
Brooks was also thanked in the credits, which was really awkward, I thought, because Brooks hadn't even watched this movie or even known who Kevin Smith was at the time. Brooks, what do you think about the style and structure of the film?
I think it's good. It's a good comedy structure. And, Kevin Smith's writing style works really well for this kind of comedy. Like it's crude. It's got a little crude and but not too much.
Yeah.
It's still lighthearted and
it's got a lot though, man. Like
It
you don't
does have
watch
a lot.
most movies where some character just goes, "Well, did he come?"
Yeah. That whole game show. That whole
Fucking
game show.
top
The way it
fortune
starts
teller.
off.
Yeah.
The way it starts off about his cousin Walter. My cousin Walter was a weird dude. Like, it's just such a weird way to start the film, man. Imagine the fights he had to take, because his producer was Jim Jacks, who produced Dazed and Confused. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And, he fought with them over the use of the word cocksucker by Ben Affleck. So imagine the fights that happened in this one. And what's really cool is that in the Arrow Blu-ray here, there's actually a documentary tribute, like a short tribute to Jim Jacks by Kevin Smith, like directed by Kevin Smith. Also, there's an intro to the film by Kevin Smith, and I was watching it and I was like, how long is this? It was 12 minutes long. It's a 12-minute long intro. Bruh. The only other person I know that would do that would be like me. I'd probably do like a 12-minute long. Let's talk about the music. Overall, the music is great. It really has some of my favorite bands from that time. I love listening to the soundtrack. The Kevin Smith soundtracks did what the Quentin Tarantino soundtracks did. And if you bought them and had them on CD back in the day, which I did, they had clips from the movie as well, which really just made it even better. I think the Clerks soundtrack and this one are just absolutely fire. This has got some great songs. I want to know overall, what do you think about the soundtrack and what your favorite song is in particular? But also I want to focus real quick. The filed away music that they use in the film for the few moments where like Brandy's thinking about her relationship with TS and they're playing that cheesy after school special stuff, like the electric piano, like I love the hell out of that. It's so dated. It's so perfect. And it nails it. But the soundtrack is brilliant. What's your favorite song, Jelani? What do you think of the music?
Suzanne. Ooh, you're all that I wanted of a girl. It's
Station
awesome.
Lee. Station Lee, by the way.
Oh, thanks so much.
Wow. Alabama Pancake.
Damn it, another one. Station.
Damn. Well done, dude.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
You
for
were dropping 20 spots last night on Bueller's show. And we're going to all have chalupas and Alabama pancakes. Joe, by the way, an Alabama pancake is an Alabama chalupa from Taco Bell. Apparently, they don't grill them and they look like pancakes. So we don't have real chalupas down here, apparently. Damn, and another one. Another one for Station. Damn, Station.
Wow.
Station.
Wow.
We're all getting chalupas tonight, y'all.
Woohoo.
You know,
Joe's
this
like,
actually,
I don't want an Alabama pancake.
I don't. I actually I rewatched Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey the other night.
Did you notice all the stations?
No, I mean that's kind of why I ended up rewatching it the other day. Because I'm like, it's been a while. It's on I think it was on HBO Max anyway. So I was like,
let's just watch the Station movie. Let's just see. The first Station in that movie is the dude from Faith No More. He shows up. He's like, Station.
Yeah.
I love how little George Carlin is in that movie.
Oh, it's sad, but he's in the first one not so much, Yeah. But he bookends both of them. But I love that. Like, I would totally have loved school a lot better if I got to go in like these like foam suits with like black lights and everything. That would be way cool, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Delaney, favorite song? Suzanne, Weezer. That's awesome. John
Suzanne
was going to be
Weezer.
here. John wasn't able to be here,
he
so
been like, Weezer's the greatest.
Yeah, he would have said that first thing.
Yep, he'd be like immediately Weezer.
That's fair.
But I love all the songs in this movie for some reason. I love the Sublime song.
Yeah.
Smoke 2 joints in the morning, smoke 2 joints at night.
I was playing the soundtrack at work, which is for the most part fine to play at a comic shop, but when that one comes on a Saturday afternoon, I was like, change that song right now. Change it.
I own the soundtrack and I own a bootleg. Because I loved it so much, man. Because I love the skits in it. I love all the little parts in it, and
amazing.
But Suzanne is my favorite song.
It's a good song.
Nice.
Good song. And it adds so much mystery. Who is Suzanne? What's going on? He told the Suzanne story twice, by the way. 2 different versions, but it doesn't matter. There are 2 Willums, right? There's a Willem in this movie that's not the Willem from the Clerks, and they say it's the Willem of 2 worlds. It's like there's this theory that the Willem switched places with another Willem from an alternate reality, which I think is really, really cool. Right?
That works. I mean, it's the same universe as Dogma, so sure, why not?
Exactly. Joe, what's your favorite song on the soundtrack? What you think of the music?
I do enjoy the music. Again, it's dated. It makes you think of a very specific time period. I'm always conflicted on some of that stuff because sometimes it really works and it really it's comfy and cozy and it makes you like sit back and enjoy and think of a different time. And then other times it's a Nickelback song in a Spider-Man movie.
But that's a good song.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, it's so weird because that first Spider-Man movie I really enjoy, and the Danny Elfman score is fantastic. But there are multiple songs in it where you're just like, oh, whoa, this is like too specific. Like, I have nothing against Macy Gray, and I like that stuff, but she was popular for like 3 months.
Minutes.
Yeah.
And so it like just sucks you the hell out. Like, whoa, what's going on? They might as well have had like Lou Bega or something like that.
Oh my God.
Whoa, what the fuck's going on?
LFO.
But this all works. And going back to what I mentioned before, Squirt Gun Social for me is the song that stands out because it's not only the way this film is structured, and again, kind of aping back on the structure bit, it's rare to see a movie like this where they just like play a whole song in the beginning of the movie, and they just like they play the whole thing, and they have the whole the comic book art and all of that, a very slow intro for the movie. And so not only is the song enjoyable for me, but it sets the tone for the entire movie. You're like, okay, this is a movie about like slacker Gen Xers. Like, that just like, even if no one told you what this movie was about and you plant someone in a chair and just turn it on, that song and that setup before anything starts, you're just like, got it. So for me, that really like that sets the tone, and it's my favorite.
It does.
And it's a great moment too, where it just kicks and it goes do 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 do, and you're just transfixed by that comic book art, and like so many people. We talk about Allred and Campbell, Casada. Like it's really cool to rewatch it and be like, oh my goodness, like he's like, I bet Kevin Smith was like, how much money do I got to make this film? $6 million.
All right.
Can I get some comic book art in here? Because he didn't know what else to spend the money on. Another cool thing. When Brody gets hit by that beam, because you see people building the stage, that's part of the whole thing, is they're building the stage for the set, right? The dude like hits Brody in the head, right, with the beam. Mm-hmm. That beam was like the only beam they had, just one tiny little prop. That same dude is carrying that beam like 3 or 4 different times in the movie. You'll just see him walk by. It's like a little visual bit they did. It's hilarious. I love that little bit of attention to detail. Brooks, what's the song you really like in the film, and what do you think of the music?
I like the opening song, I think.
Yeah.
It has that very 90s
social
punk feel to it. Like, because that was kind of like what we were rebelling against back then, is just like society in general. It was like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just like what do we have to rebel? What about just society? It was like fucking social shit telling me what to do, how to act and shit. Fuck that.
Fuck my history teacher, man, telling me I can't wear my really wide pants with all the zippers on them. I bought those at Gadzooks, man.
My chain on my wallet.
Yeah,
that was my big thing. People weren't allowed to wear. You remember those Big Johnson shirts they used to make? They were popular back in the day.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to wear those in high school.
That makes sense. In hindsight, it makes sense. To be honest, no, that opening song is great, man. Squirt Gun Social, that's a good one. The other one I love Stoned by Silverchair. That's a good one.
Sure.
But honestly, like one of my favorite songs, and I always forget about it until I rewatch the film, is Bubbles by Bush. That song, like I love Bush from those first 2 albums in particular. Like I love that sound. I don't think anybody ever encapsulated that 16 Stones sound other than them, and that was kind of what Bubbles is. I guess it was probably like a B-side or something, but I love that song. The music's great. It's a great soundtrack.
Yeah. It is.
What's the movie trying to say, Jelani? What's the theme?
It's
kind of easy. It's after school special, all right?
Don't screw over your girlfriend. Get them back if you do it wrong. But I don't know, man. It's just it's kind of weird. It is after school specialish. Yeah, don't screw over your girlfriend, and try to get her back. Try to get her back best way you can.
Well, it's not just about that. It's about the idea of what growth is, right? So I think
it is growth.
The movie's about growth, right? And as Brody is somehow,
it is growth. He learns.
Okay, it all comes from one moment, and it's early on, and he's like, "Oh, she left me this letter filled with obscure adjectives," and TS goes, "So she calls you callow?" And
callow.
He's like, "That means frightened and weak-willed, right?" And that's what Brody's scared of growth. He's scared of growing up, and that's what his journey. Why he is able to win Renee back is because he actually gets that growth.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I know. That's what I'm riding on what you're saying, Jeremy. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, like Joe said earlier, I don't feel that from TS as much. No, but TS has got a whole other problem outside of Brody. But Brody's the arc for me, you know, and it is about that growth aspect. So, but I'm just saying, it's not about just winning the girl back, but about actually making
it's about
the change.
Making the change to do it. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, but it's simplified.
Yeah.
But this movie is it does say a lot about a lot of things. It's a touchstone for what you want to have as growth. Like you want, you don't want to just be a shiftless layabout. You want to do better. You want to be better than what you are. And it does portray that. And they do have great growth. I mean, even TS kind of sort of is very, very, very light on his end.
Yeah. Well, as much as you can get in one of these like 3-act plays type things, right. Like he gets the realization that he has to make the change and then he gets immediate reward. It's kind of, that's the one problem with movies like this is because it actually, you have to make the realization, then you put in the work, then you get the reward. So it kind of gives you the reward too quick.
I still don't think that they stayed together. I don't think anyone stayed together. Right, I don't think anyone stayed together at the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but good observations. What about you, Joe? What's this movie trying to say to you?
Well, I might go in here and either maybe give the movie a little too much credit here or get a little Galaxy brand here. So bear with me. But I think you can take from this movie this idea that you can become a better person without being a different person. Because when you look at Brody's arc,
you're right.
Most movies, I mean, up till fairly recently, movies, stories, I mean, books, any form of media, the Brody character would have only gotten the girl back if he gave up comics and video games.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any of that. He becomes a more mature person while never changing himself. And I think this movie is a way, like it's a Gen X story about, look, man, be yourself. Like you don't have, like, don't change for people.
Never be social.
Exactly. Like don't change who you are for people. Change how you treat them.
Yes.
And that's important. And I think, again, this might be generous to say that's what the movie is trying to say, but I think you can get that from this movie.
I agree. I think that's rather profound. Yeah. I like that. You don't have to change who you are, just change how you treat people.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's great. That is
I've learned a new lesson again from Mallrats. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Yeah. Brooks, what's this movie trying to say to you?
Thank you.
I think a lot of it's like kind of how the listlessness of the Gen X generations, like how we don't care. In Clerks, a lot of that was in Clerks too. The whole arc with Dante, like he doesn't feel like he needs to go to college. It's like because it seems like we don't buy into the idea that there's something actually better. Like that success seems like really a hollow pursuit to a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
And like even like the consumerism aspect, like we don't go to the mall necessarily to do what we're supposed to do at the mall, like like the Ben Affleck character wants you to do, like which is just spend money. We just go there to socialize, to hang out and to be with other people like us, like because like the things I think like Gen X, the things that Gen X are into are like just so far removed from the previous generation. And that's why like a lot of like, you know, boomers and stuff don't really understand like why we're so like, you know, why are they so listless and lazy and they don't care about anything and they don't want to get good jobs and all this, you know. It's like because, you know, we just don't really see the value in it a lot of the time.
And now we got
it's not a good enough prize for us, I guess you could say.
Well, and now we have a new generation coming up which does care a lot about things. And now you're getting people our age being like, why do they care so much? Why can't they just be listless and happy with what they got?
Terrible. We're terrible.
No, good points of all, man. Yeah, I like that growth aspect. I like the ideas, what Joe said, and I love what Brooke said too. And this movie is about a lot. I mean, it is. Like Kevin Smith is always trying to make movies about things, and this isn't as nuanced to me as Chasing Amy. Sure. It isn't as ambitious as Dogma. It isn't as philosophical as Clerks, but it is exactly what I think it should be for the movie that it was trying to be. It was trying to be a John Landis comedic romp in 1995. And that was just, I don't think, the right time for this movie. If this was an 80s movie, Mallrats in the 80s would have been a huge hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would have been a huge ass hit. It would have been a bit different, but I love the movie overall. And now it's time to rate it. So you out there in the Army, PCP Army, and everybody listening, let us know right now, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Kevin Smith's Mallrats and Jelani? What do you give it?
Well, I got my nostalgia glasses on, so I love this movie. I've watched it probably 30 times in my lifetime. I've watched a lot. I've watched this movie a lot. It's fun for me. So I love the characters. I love the setup. I love the plot. I love everything about it. So I'm gonna give it. Of course, I'm gonna give it 5. For me, that's just my nostalgia glasses. But I'm gonna give it a 5. It's not a perfect film, not by any means. But it's
you just gave it a perfect score, Jelani. By the way,
yeah, it's not perfect, but it's perfect. I'm just saying.
All right. No, I get it, man. This is about to you personally. This isn't trying to like
me personally,
like critically incise it or nothing. It's just how does it, like 5?
If I had to be honest, about it, I'd give it a 3. But
but rewatchability, I know, is a big deal to you, and I know this is a movie that Jelani, like if it's on, Jelani ain't going anywhere.
I'm
like if Jelani came over my house, he's like, oh, I only have 2 minutes to stop by and just hang out for a second, and Mallrats was on. 30 minutes in, he would stay there the whole rest of the time. I know.
We're watching it.
What about you, Joe? Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Mallrats?
In a similar sort of way, I think the real answer is probably 3 out of 5, but I would give it a 4 you digs out of 5 because of again a certain level of nostalgia, familiarity with the film. I would probably just give it a 3 if I saw it today for the first time.
Yeah.
But, you know, sort of having watched that movie half my life ago now, and, you know, the amount of times I've seen it since, you know, it's,
Hell yeah. A very respectable score of you digs, Joe. What about you, Brooks? Out of 5 you digs, what do you give Mallrats?
I'll give this movie a 4. It's good and enjoyable. I like it a lot. You know, it does have, you know, it has a few little drawbacks, but like overall, you know, nothing that would, you know, I would say would make it unenjoyable.
Yeah, right.
Like, sure. Like even like a lot of the humor isn't near as bad as I remember it being. You know, sometimes like humor, like especially 90s humor, gets a little you know, it doesn't hold up as well.
Yeah.
Modern.
Oh yeah.
Or modern dated times. But I think this one's a little safer than most.
Nice.
Oddly enough, yeah. It's weird. And to play off on that, there was the Bill and Ted live action show.
Oh yeah.
I randomly watched an episode because I think it was just on like YouTube. And I watched it with a friend of mine, and the whole plot of the episode was there was this TV soap opera where the doctor in it was coming out as a trans woman, and they had to use their telephone. I guess they weren't really time traveling because they were going into this fictional soap opera world.
Okay.
To convince the doctor to not come out as trans.
Well, that didn't age very well.
No, and I'm watching this, and I did not know, and I was like, oh well, watch a random episode. I didn't really watch. You figure it out, and I'm watching this with a trans friend of mine, and we're just like, well, that didn't go great.
No, not at all.
It's not the
No.
best.
Yeah, I'm glad Mallrats ages better than the Bill and Ted live action show. I've only seen the cartoon. I've never seen I've heard of the live action show. I know of it.
It's not good. And there's some random movies too, like Soap Dish. You forget about that, like how that ends, and you're like, oh no. Like there's some movies like that, but yeah, it's refreshing to watch a movie like this. Be like, oh, this is fine. Like
a movie that they still wouldn't make today, but doesn't quite age disgracefully. Right?
No, it has what one would expect in terms of homophobic jokes in a 90s movie. It was like, this is about the amount you would guess in a 90s movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Funny though, like, when Gil was talking and like, Brody's like, I saw you kissing the guy backstage. And he's like, no, I wasn't. He's like, what are you, some kind of homophobe?
No.
So he's kind of like, shaming him for it.
I think Kevin's brother is gay,
I didn't
right?
see that a whole lot back then, like people shaming somebody for being a homophobe.
Yeah, so yeah, like honestly, it was like, yeah, you definitely couldn't make it today. Obviously, for there are multiple sequences where you're like, no, you probably wouldn't have a storyline of an underage girl going around.
Not at all. Not a 15-year-old. Nope. That would not fly.
And
her face would be blurred the whole movie.
Yeah,
easily amused.
Yeah, no.
She does have some profound things to say, though. I think at times, man.
No, she does. Like, you could get away with doing that kind of stuff in like certain comics, I think, but not a movie.
Yeah, not anymore. I'm gonna give it 4 you digs as well. I this movie, and that's because I love this movie so much. I do not think it's his strongest film. It's not my favorite Kevin Smith film, but
it's mine.
I love this movie. It has an attachment to me. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters. I love the performances. And it's just a great journey for Jay and Silent Bob. It's a great thread throughout the whole Views universe. And I just love it. So 4 you digs for me. So 5 from Jelani and 4 from Joe, Brooks, and me for a PCP average of 4.3, 69 dudes. And I too hope to come loud, preferably in a 69. That's a quote from the movie, guys, if you remember.
It is.
Anyway, but so that's our review. Let's see what the chat said about what they would rate this film. PM Nerdy Travis says 5 you digs. Kirby says 4.5.
Ooh,
Zach says, yeah, you can do a point. Zach says 3 you digs. 62 Lefty Blue says 4.5 you digs. Notch. Nooch. Missing Link, what's up, Steph, says 4.5 you digs. Mike06 says 4.5 you digs. Nice, okay.
Yeah, no, it always gets tough with Kevin Smith films, like thinking about like favorites and stuff like that, because it's like, is it just Clerks? Do you have to say Clerks? Is it because
that's not my favorite. If I had to pick one, I would pick Chasing Amy. I think that's his most impactful film. I think that says a lot.
It's good.
Jamie says 5 you digs, giving it a perfect score. Jamie, really interesting. Fable says 4 you digs, which is 5 slips, which is 7 backlogs. He understands the exchange rate. I really like it. Joe, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
That's good. No, it's fine, because then I get that way kind of with 9 Inch Nails albums too, because I'm a big 9 Inch Nails fan. Nice. And then it's like every time I re-listen to like something like Pretty Hate Machine, I'm like, how can I not say this is my favorite? Even though like The Fragile might be my favorite, it's always tough with that, because Pretty Hate Machine is just similar to Kevin Smith with like Clerks. It's just raw Trent Reznor. Yeah. It's like this is Trent Reznor left to his own devices without input from other people in terms of like a wider audience. This is what he comes up with, and that's like, wow, that's what that's really impressive. you know, which is the same thing I get stuck with Kevin Smith, because I like a lot of his films, but sometimes with Clerks, it's like, this is before he had like any real input. And this is just raw, like left to his own devices. Like, what do you do? And so yeah, I don't know. It's all of it's tough and it's subjective, but you know.
Yeah, it is. And it is tough. And because you never want to be that dude who's like, my favorite's the first. It was never as good as the first, right? You don't want to be that guy, right? Which I do that. I feel the same way. I feel the same way with Nine Inch Nails, because I think The Fragile is probably the best. But I mean, you listen to Pretty Hate Machine and blah. I think same thing. If you like Metallica, I really think Kill 'Em All is their best album, but I don't want to be that guy to be like, the best Metallica album is Kill 'Em All, obviously, because I didn't listen to it when it first came out. You know, the first one I listened to was the Black Album. You know, I'm just I'm just a muggle as the rest of them. Anyway, that was our review on Mallrats, everybody. We're coming back for PCP Back Chat and a little bit of show and tell. Everybody, Jelani, Joe, Brooks, and everybody in the PCP Army, thank you so much. Next week, tonight was your pick, Mallrats. Now we're doing PCP Cruise picks for the next few weeks, and next week is my pick because it's my birthday weekend, and I'm picking Southland Tales. So right now, watch Southland Tales and read the comic if you can find it. It's chapters 1 through 3, but this is a great movie. It's by Richard Kelly. I'm pumped. But first, tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show, we're going to spotlight the career of Eli Roth. So I've watched some really gnarly movies this week, and I'm excited to talk about them. Tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show, there's a link in the description down below, and that's going to be at 6:05 Central Time. Anyway, we'll be right back for PCP Back Chat. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PCP Back Chat. That's right. This is the show after the show where we just hang out and chat for a while. We just reviewed Mallrats. That was a fun revisit, wasn't it, Jelani?
It really was. It really was. Man,
since he's not here, so nobody will think we're just trying to like make him feel good. Like, I thought Joe brought so much dimension to that, man. That was amazing. That was great, man.
I love it, man. I love when we get new people and get insight that deep. I would never have thought of that stuff, man.
By the way, y'all, Joe's got a new book out next week. It's called Beck Star. It's from Mad Cave Studios. You need to check it out. Beck Star #1. I should have totally mentioned that when I introduced him. What the fuck is wrong with me? God damn it. I'm terrible. Literally, this cat's got a book out fucking Wednesday, and I couldn't fucking even think to mention it. What the fuck is wrong with me? Sorry.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for voting in Mallrats. It was the first place winner, but it was so close for a while between it and Last Action Hero. So it was almost Last Action Hero tonight.
Yep, I'm glad it was Mallrats. I like Last Action Hero, but I'm very glad.
I like Mallrats better.
Yeah, a lot better. I watched Last Action Hero and Jurassic Park the same day. It was like a double feature with my cousin. And we watched Last Action Hero first, and I was so unsatisfied that I wanted to watch Jurassic Park. But I like it just the same.
Yeah. Joe is back. Joe, I was commenting that you've got a new book out on Wednesday, and I neglected to even mention that when I introduced you. So I'm sorry for that, brother. I'm sorry. But I told everybody to check out Beck Star #1 on Wednesday because I have read it, and I really, really fucking like it. So
I appreciate that a lot, and that's fine. I came here to talk about Mallrats. It's fun.
Well, thank you. Hey, Dylan's in the house. What's up, Dylan? We just plugged the show tomorrow night.
Hello.
Don't forget Eli Roth Spotlight. I watched Green Inferno last night for the first time. Ooh. Really enjoyed it.
Really?
I like seeing uppity white people get their shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, man. I really like that movie. I really fucking like that movie. But whatever. Tonight I'm watching Knock Knock for the first time, which I hear is rather steamy, so I'm excited.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you seen that one, Joe?
I have not. I gotta see that.
It's got Keanu Reeves in it. I'll tell you that. So
I was thinking that
I'm excited. It's Ted himself.
Nice. What is it? So Cabin Fever, Hostel 1 and 2.
Yeah. Green Inferno. Yeah.
Knock Knock. So just Knock Knock.
Well,
thought he had more stuff.
He's got 2 more movies after that. It's Death Wish. He did the Death Wish remake with Bruce Willis.
Really?
I watched that.
I haven't seen that one yet, but we're not necessarily covering that one because we're covering his horror stuff. And though I do have it, so I want to check it out. And House with a Clock in Its Walls, which is the kid movie with Jack Black.
That's the one. Eli Roth. Who knew?
Yeah, Eli Roth did. He's branching out. Why not, right? You don't want to be labeled. Here's the problem with Eli Roth. He gets labeled the torture porn guy. And I hate that term. So does Dylan. And we will probably spend a lot of time tomorrow night defending torture porn and Eli Roth. I'm serious as hell. I had Brian. Joe knows Brian. You all know Brian. I was talking to Brian the other day at the shop on yesterday, New Comic Book Day. Or not yesterday, but Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, over hard. But
over hard.
So I was talking to him and he was like, "Oh, I've never seen those movies. You know, aren't they like just torture porn?" So I gave him my whole spiel. Like I went on for like 10 minutes about how it was representing our post 9/11 societal like stress and trauma and like what it's trying to say about what we were in. I really feel like horror movies
stretching to me.
No, it's not weird stretching. Horror movies come after massive change, massive big things to happen to society. You got the universal horror renaissance post Great Depression. You've got the all the
kaiju movies,
the Cold War movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the post-Vietnam slasher films, and then you got the 80s Reaganism, those kind of movies, right? Where it's about excess and gratuity. And then you got a little bit cleaner slate in the 90s, but then post 9/11, you get these things that are labeled torture porn. And I think that Saw and Hostel are 2 of those movies. Like the way that we talk about, say, Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that is Hostel and Saw, but for the Audis, like, right? Like,
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes, though, to get over that kind of trauma, all you need is a little joke. So, do you want to hear my favorite 9/11 joke?
is this a bit? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say in this. Like, you live in New York, right? So, like,
I live in New York, and this
Go
personally affected me and my family. So,
you say whatever you want to, brother. I'm just saying.
No, this is. It's almost cute. It's a knock joke, actually.
Okay.
Oh Jesus, that means we're involved.
So Robbie, knock.
Who's there?
9/11.
9/11 who?
I thought you said you'd never forget.
I'm not supposed to laugh at that on screen, man. That's really funny. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Never forget.
Look, there's Brian right there. Brian's like, you did go on for a long time. I struck a nerve. I was. And what's crazy is I was explaining all of this. I was like, we were dealing with our, seeing the body rent asunder, which is like, I got that from Mick Garris, right? And like, we're talking about this and our lack of trust for the other countries and the xenophobia and how the movie, like the whole first half of Hostel, these dudes are objectifying women. Like they go to this place to find women to screw and like just get drunk and smoke weed and have sex, right? And at the whole last half, they are the ones being objectified, literally, like being bought to fucking, so these sick people can do whatever the hell they want. What's the difference? I think that's actually trying to say something. And I told all of this to Brian, and Brian goes, oh man, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I was like, so you want to watch Hostel sometime? And he goes, oh, no, I'll still never watch it.
Because it's torture porn.
That's great. All this talk of torture is making me think of that movie Pieces.
I haven't seen Pieces.
Pieces is great. Pieces is great because on the cover, like one of the posters, the tagline on it is, it's exactly what you think it is. Because they're getting chopped to pieces.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like I mean when I watch a movie,
Pieces. What the fuck?
Just like tea.
You thought it was about the guy that created Reese's, right? Yeah. Pieces. I want to check that one out. Like if you watch a movie like that, you know what you're getting into. These people that watch, this is why it's funny when people like when they test screen movies and they like have no like, they're not like saying, hey, come watch this new horror film. Like they're just like, oh, bring in some people. So you get these movies are made for a certain audience, you know. I'm not saying Hostel's the movie for everybody. It's obviously not, but whatever. I think his best film after rewatching all of these ones, and I haven't seen Knock Knock yet, but after rewatching them, I do still stand by my controversial idea that Hostel 2 is his best film. So
like
I don't know.
Ever?
I really like Hostel 2.
Ever.
I really like. Yeah, I really think Hostel 2 is really good.
Movie sucked.
I know you hated it, Brooks. You hated it worse than Iron Eagle. I remember that.
You saw it first, though. You didn't watch the first Hostel, did you?
I saw the end of the first Hostel.
You saw the end of the first Hostel, but not the. Okay, yeah, that's why. I love
Hostel.
Hostel.
The whole of the second one, I was like, this movie sucks.
I like the second
I'd
one.
be willing to give it a second chance, though.
He totally Iron Eagled it.
Here's the thing. Brooks gave us this terrible ass, like Brooks is always just so nice to movies that are bad. Okay. He's always so nice to every movie. Mm-hmm. And last week when we did Iron Eagle, this dude was just like, this movie fucking sucked. He gave it the worst score ever, but he watched like a bootleg version of it on YouTube in which all the scenes with music had no audio. If you take the music out of Iron Eagle, you take away the heart of the movie.
The movie.
But let's be honest, that movie's not good. Mallrats is a way better film than Iron Eagle. But I gave it the same score. This is weird. The ya digs, what are ya digs even worth? Is this even real? Who knows?
I like it. I like our scoring.
Where do we get these coveted ya digs to just give out to these movies?
Know. We used to be really tight with our ya digs because originally we just reviewed new films. We didn't like revisit films. We just did new films, right? But so many people do that. Who cares? But when we do a new film, we're like way more harsh on it sometimes. Not Mortal Kombat, though. Jelani called me the moment he saw my Mortal Kombat review. This dude felt the need to call me
You're
to like
welcome.
ramble at me for 20 minutes about why he disagrees
yeah.
with me
By the
on
way,
my
What did you
assessment.
think about it? I didn't see either review on
I
it.
liked it. I
I
don't know
too.
what
I thought it was awesome.
I don't know what people expect out of a Mortal Kombat movie, but
That's
I liked
exactly
it.
what I expect out of a Mortal Kombat movie.
I saw the first Mortal Kombat movie in theaters. I have not seen this new one yet.
I like the new one.
I like the first one too, actually.
It's
the
okay.
first was good. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think it ages well.
Goro doesn't.
Yeah,
Goro
yeah.
looks better in the new movie,
Especially the
than in the
effects.
old one. Yeah, even
Sure.
though it's practical effects. Practical effects are way better.
The Goro was really cool.
But Goro was good.
in the
Yeah,
original.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought
It's-
it was a fun movie. I mean, it wasn't going to change my life or nothing, man. But
I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't change my life either.
I don't know. What's
my
the next
original-
movie?
I think
What's
it's
the next
meh.
big movie?
Mm.
What's the next movie that we're all going to be excited to watch now that like the Kong and the Mortal Kombat and the Snyder cut
Till
are
we
over?
get when is Black
I
Widow?
guess Black Widow's in July, so I guess that's it, right?
And then, wow, I have no
Suicide
idea.
Squad's in August.
Suicide Squad.
I'm pumped for that.
I watched that.
Anybody watch any of these Oscar movies? I haven't seen any of them,
Mm-mm.
but
Not a single
I watched Promising Young Woman.
that won best
Was it good?
screenplay.
Best screenplay, yeah.
one. Mhm.
Usually, the
I-
movies that win best screenplay, I think, are like my favorite movies.
Should
of
win
that
Best
year.
Picture.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think you'd like it, Robbie. I think it's
I like what's her name that's in it. Is it Carrie Mulligan?
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan, yeah.
Carey Mulligan.
But,
she's in Blink, the best Doctor Who episode,
That's
She
true.
is.
arguably.
But yeah, she's great in it. There's a lot of little little bits, like Alfred Molina's in it for a few minutes, and like just stuff like that. It's like, this is great.
Oh, that's cool.
Tritium.
The soundtrack is really good. Like, I know I liked a movie a lot when I listened to the soundtrack right after it. Like, that was this for me. I was like, oh,
Okay.
where's the soundtrack? Let me listen to that. And it's just like arty enough. It's a little out, it's a little cerebral, get you
Okay.
thinking, and it's a very it's a movie that like kind of tricks you a little bit. Like, it gives you like this false sense of comfort, and then like you're like,
It takes it
then
away.
it's like boom, and you're like, you're just stuck in this like really stressful situation. You're like, oh my god, what did I get into? And then
I love movies like that.
yeah,
I like movies that make
Chainsaw
you feel
Massacre
kind
is
of
kinda
uncomfortable.
like that.
Yeah.
you are so uncomfortable by like after there's just like a certain point in the movie. It flirts with you in terms of like, it makes you think you should be uncomfortable, and then it like eases up, and you're like, okay, maybe that's just like a little bit, and then you're like, oh no, this is a deeply uncomfortable film.
Gotcha.
That's an Oscar winner movie.
Yeah, it's
They
It was
were.
like that
So
and
good.
Mank were the only ones I actually even heard of.
Yeah.
But I mean, this
I've
wasn't the
never
year
heard
of the
no
movie.
Badland. Yeah,
This
it
wasn't the year of the movie, and let's be honest, because I used to be the Oscar guy. Like, I would
Sure.
fill out the card, and I would always win. Like, when I worked at Movie Stop, we would have that competition. I would win. I would win like gift cards because I picked the Oscar winners, and I was always into it. I would root for movies. Like, I remember when Hurt Locker won, I reacted the way it was like in 2018 when me and Jelani had champagne after Obama was elected. Like, I was that
That was good
excited for
times.
Hurt Locker to win. Like, what is wrong with me? But like that's what I used to. Now I don't even care. Now I'm like, best movie of the year for me was Bill and Ted Face the Music, y'all. You know?
Yeah, that's what we said.
Actually, I said
It's true.
Tenet, but but it's because I like sci-fi, I like horror, I like
Yeah.
genre, I like
Sonic
genre.
got snubbed.
Sonic.
It's in every category. It's just like,
We got some reminders though. TM Nerdy says the Bad Batch is on the 4th. That's right. Yeah, I'm not really that
don't
much.
care
I mean,
about
Star
all
Wars
the
is cool.
wars.
I need to finish Clone Wars, man. I fall
Yeah.
behind on that stuff, man. I'm behind on
Yeah,
Star Trek
Star
right now.
Wars.
So if I was caught up on Star Wars before Star Trek, that'd be really, really terrible. And Mike reminds us that Spiral is May 14th. I am looking forward to that.
I can watch that.
Chris Rock, kind of a slight reboot of Saw in a way.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of excited for that. So we'll see.
now if it was Spyro, I'd be excited.
Is that like a dragon? Isn't that like a
It is the
cartoon
purple
dragon or
dragon.
something? Okay.
Spyro has to find the killer.
The jigsaw
There we
killer.
go.
He takes the Chris Rock place.
You want
I-
to play a game?
I
Hey,
would
when
be
when
more than
Tony
happy to
Fleece
watch
is
that.
on the channel, the guy that does Stray Dogs, I'll pitch it to him. See what he says.
I like Tony Fleeks a lot. He was a good guy.
Cool. I'm excited because I was worried. And Dylan says Army of the Dead, May 18th, Robbie. Yeah, I'm really excited for Army
Oh
of the Dead.
yeah, that's your boy. That's your boy Snyder.
Zack
and his
Snyder.
cut.
You know me and Zack Snyder, man. We like that, man. We cool, man. We cool. Zach, you ever want to be on the show? Come on. We'll chat. We won't bring Jelani on. Trust me.
You let me on. Oh yeah, I got questions.
Bro, I'm
I
so
got a list
sorry.
of questions.
You can give me a list of questions, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be doing this the whole time. Bro, like that moment when Aquaman's like, yeah, man.
And then
That's
I'll
good
be like,
stuff.
you remember that moment when that lady was smelling that sweater? Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your motivations?
I wouldn't ask him about that. I think his motivation was they gave me 4 hours, bro. So I put everything like if they were like they came whatever. That's a whole other thing, right? But what was I saying? Oh, but yeah, movies are coming out, all that stuff. You know what? I just finished watching Drag Race season 13. Like right before the stream, I watched the last episode, and I don't know how many people out there watch Drag Race, but I could not be happier with the winner. They really nailed it this year. I'm not lying. So, anybody watch anything recently interesting? Jamie showed me this movie. It was a Criterion Blu-ray she recently bought. I had never seen this movie. It's Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's on
movie was-
HBO Max.
That
Mhm.
was that.
It's on HBO Max, I think.
That movie was
Yeah.
awesome. I loved it. I thought it's a great, like it's like a musical, but like it's I fucking love it. I found it fascinating. That movie is really cool. Anybody watch anything recently?
God, what the hell do I watch? I've watched a lot of like Don Bluth and Ralph Bashki films this year. Just while hanging out.
Nice.
I
And Before
rewatched.
Time.
Yeah, but like I grew up on The Land Before Time.
All 33
Yeah,
of them.
Yeah.
Like the first two, I kind
the
of
first two, yeah.
I remember
But,
the Pizza Hut puppet toys. Those were like those things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, those were the most coveted things of my
They're
life.
probably
Yeah.
a fortune now.
They probably-
Oh yeah, or the McDonald's Super Mario Brothers 3 toys.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
those. Yeah,
I got I had those.
Yeah,
I have
those
them
too.
I had
still.
them,
I
yeah.
have them. I have them now. I don't know where they are. There's somewhere.
But what
I'll
was
prove
it?
it next week.
Rewatched like The Secret of Nymph for the first time in
I
years.
love that movie.
Oh man,
Oh, and I was scared of I don't like rats at all. But I
Yeah.
love that movie.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I finally watched the other week the Czech like surrealist Alice film that inspired Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol.
okay.
I finally watched that a few weeks ago, and it is wonderful.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think I watched it on YouTube. It's probably still up. There was like an English dub of it that I was able to watch. and
Okay.
it's gorgeous and weird and brilliant. So that was a lot of fun. What was it? I watched Heavy Metal, the original
Heavy
one.
Metal.
The two Fritz the Cat's movies.
I have not watched those.
They're-
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch those.
They're fun. You couldn't do them today, but they're fun. I've also been going back and rewatching a lot of. This was something I watched at the time. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I should have, and now I'm watching it, and it was so brilliant, and it kills me that it doesn't have a gigantic cult following because it should. Is the Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat?
Okay, I've never
That
heard of it.
cartoon, go watch it. It's incredible. It's like on par with all of the like those other like amazing out there like kind of 90s cartoons.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's really out there, and it kills me that it doesn't have a huge following because it should. But God, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he does a lot of stuff related to comics. Like was like the showrunner for like the second season. It's killing me that I can't think of his name, but he's like an ancillary part of comics. I'm probably just gonna Google it because it's killing me. But
yeah, now we're all waiting. Just like
yeah, no, you
breath,
might
man.
please do.
So this is the Felix the Cat, like Adventures of Felix the Cat. You said?
Yeah, but it's like an out there trippy like version of Felix
crazy.
the Cat, and it is Mark Evanier.
Oh, the Kirby guy. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, he's like one of the guys who like does a lot of stuff for that show.
Yeah, cool.
It's so good. I mean, it's very different from other Felix the Cat stuff. I mean, I also love the old like 40s or 30s like Felix the Cat cartoons and the weird 80s movie where like he had to save a princess from like some like evil invasion.
I never saw that.
Do yourself.
I've seen it all the time at the video stores, but never watched it.
You should watch it. It's ludicrous. It's like this. Who is this for? Why does this exist? It's like one of those things.
Maybe
like
we should revisit it on a PCP movie night sometime.
Yeah, because it's the kind of thing where someone must have watched enough of those, like, you know, someone must have watched like He-Man or some shit and was just like, why isn't Felix the Cat that? And why isn't it a movie?
That's awesome.
Wow. I had no idea.
You just really got me curious about this one now.
It's so weird. But I love stuff like that. I love stuff that like, why the hell does this exist? I rewatched episodes not that long ago of the New Adventures of He-Man.
Oh, I love that stupid ass shit, man.
Sci-fi one with the blue pants and the ponytail, and it's just like, what the fuck are you guys?
Oh, I loved it, man. I loved it. I loved that toy line too. It's so stupid though.
I had the stupid Skeletor with the zombie head where you had to open the little
I had
cabinet.
that. God, I got that. Got the 2-pack at Toys R Us,
Nice.
and the electric sword or the electric shield.
Oh yeah,
I was like, yeah, all that
I
stuff.
love that, man. It was like, oh, it's like a laser sword now.
Yeah,
awesome.
That was
really
good.
Cool.
I watched Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. That was fun.
Cool.
And Godzilla 98.
Oh God!
Did that make you want a gordita? I mean, right? That movie always makes me want a gordita, man.
It makes me want to watch The Simpsons because half the people in it are Simpsons voice actors.
They're Simpsons voices.
Yeah, you're right.
Harry Shearer's in it. Yeah, that's right.
It's so stupid.
It is.
I'm trying to think. I've watched a bunch of. You know what else I watched recently too was there's this dumbass movie that came out like 10 years ago called The Big Year. You remember that about bird watching? But it's got like a really stacked cast. It's like Jack Black and Steve Martin are like the leads with Owen Wilson. And like everyone else in it is like a name. Jack Black's dad is played by like Brian Dennehy. It's like all these like big stars.
The sheriff
in a fucking waste of time, garbage ass movie. And those movies always fascinate me. It's like, who had all the money to spend to get like the cream of the crop, like the biggest names you could, and then be like, here's a really dull ass script on a concept that couldn't be interesting.
That sounds like that movie with the skits. Oh God, what was it called? Like movie 43. Movie 43. Yeah, just like that. And then they like force people to be in it. Like,
it's crazy because it's just about bird watching, and it's just you keep cutting from like Steve Martin and Jack Black, and they're like trying to look at like birds, but there's no big like. They don't push it far enough. Like this movie either needed to be, God, why am I blanking on the name of the guys? The guys who did Best in Show, A Mighty Wind,
Christopher Guest.
Christopher
Guest, right? This either needed to be a Christopher Guest film or like a Farley Brothers film.
Yeah.
But
That
but
would
it
be
just
about the same range of the characters that you're talking. I mean, the people that are in the film.
yeah,
That's
it
about the
needed to
same.
be one extreme or the other, and they went with in the middle nothing.
Okay then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's one definitely not to watch. the
Yeah.
Big Year.
Sounds like
Please
I don't wanna
do
know that.
not watch The Big Year unless you watch like a trailer just to like get an idea of how awful this is.
Okay, I'll watch the trailer. I can
But-
give 2 minutes.
But one thing, this is
Wow.
this might be telling of how I like to watch things. I once watched in one evening as a double feature B movie and Dancer in the Dark.
Your stretches are weird.
That is a
Your stretches
bold
are weird.
double feature. Like if you tried to put that on in a movie theater, you would, yeah, it would be so awkward. I think we've done some weird stretches for double or triple features, but not quite
Yeah.
like that, Joe. So
Yeah.
we
Sorry, man.
appreciate that.
You gotta, and there was no like that wasn't like, oh, and then we're gonna go out and then we're gonna come back and watch Dancer in the Dark. No, we went one after the other. There was no break. We're just going right in. Go right into Dancer in the Dark after B movie.
You
Hell
need a
yeah.
cigarette after that, man. God. Oh.
Phil, fuck a cigarette. You need a blunt after that.
Need a
That's all.
blunt.
No,
Yeah.
You need a blunt before, during, and after. That's what I say.
God.
Are there a lot of other movies like in terms of like something like Dancer in the Dark where like it's such an incredible movie that you're scared to ever watch again? Because maybe scared's the wrong word, but you're just like apprehensive. You're like, oh no, I don't know if I want to. I'm so glad I got to feel that way the one time, but I don't know if I ever want to feel that way again.
The thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The
Sorry.
Thing? Oh, come on.
Thing bothers me still, man. I'm sorry. You know how I feel about that movie. You know my feelings of the Thing. But
There are plenty of movies like that, man. Like, I don't know, like a Full Metal Jacket's a movie that, it's like that movie made me feel a certain way, but I don't like going back to that. It brings me to an uncomfortable place. Like, no lie. Like,
I like watching
things like
it again. I like watching it again.
that movie's so fucking heavy in just
love
the
that movie.
first fucking bit, man. Like, it's,
Mhm.
I don't know.
They should just stop the first half of the movie. That should be the movie.
Well, I
I
think
was
one
like,
of the points maybe of that
I
film
like
is
the
that
second half, but
I think one of the points maybe is that Kubrick's trying to desensitize you to what's going to happen in the second half, maybe.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But
No, that's
I love
fair.
Requiem for a Dream is like that. Yeah, Jamie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Requiem
That I
for a
can't
Dream.
Okay,
watch it
yeah, Requiem for a Dream is another
I
one
can't watch that
I've
again.
only watched once.
I've only watched it
And,
once.
Yeah, I never
12
need to watch
years of-
that one again.
12 Years a Slave. I can't watch
That's
it
fair.
again.
But like Requiem
Um,
for a Dream, the other thing too I always think of is the guy doing like the infomercial bit, and I'm like, it's Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
He's the freaking game show. Yeah.
Then there are movies that make me feel certain ways. I'm like, well, I want to go back to that a lot. So that's always cool too.
Like Happy Gilmore.
Yes, like Happy Gilmore.
I've what was it? It's weird because there are movies like that I probably shouldn't feel that. There are certain movies that are just so good for me that I can like watch whenever, and if I'm around someone who hasn't seen it or something, it's always like an excuse to be like I can always watch like Chinatown and The Conversation, or like two movies that at any time it's just like, oh, they're just so good. I can like, especially something like The Conversation, or I could expand that to like any amazing movie Gene Hackman was in the 70s.
Okay, yeah.
You
French
know, 'cause-
Connection for me, that's a great one.
French,
picking your feet.
French Connection,
Yeah.
Poseidon Adventure. I could do that
Was
Oh, yeah.
good.
anytime.
I like that movie.
Obviously,
Charlie
Superman
Winters.
movie.
Yeah.
Like
Good movies, man.
yeah, he's that guy. That Gene Hackman has a bright future.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
He can
Thank
really
God.
he can really act.
The other day, I actually looked him up because I was like, "Is Gene Hackman dead?"
He's
And
like
I couldn't
90,
remember.
isn't he?
No,
But
he's
yeah,
like-
he's
he's
still alive. He's
He's
old,
alive.
but he's retired. Because I was
Yeah.
like, I haven't seen a Gene Hackman movie, and I was like, did he die and I missed it? Like I didn't want that to happen. So he's still with us. So
yeah, no, it's good. And Royal Tenenbaums is another favorite of mine.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love Royal Tenenbaums. That's by far my favorite Wes Anderson film. And I adore Wes Anderson, but that
same here.
Oh.
I saw Royal Tenenbaums twice in theaters.
yes.
Yeah, and yeah, that's just a movie that I have watched countless times since
good.
then.
It's really good.
And,
It's got one of my favorite moments in a movie ever. And it's when Bill Murray is reading all of this shit about
yes, that's the
Gwyneth
moment I was going to
Paltrow's
say.
character. Yeah, right. And he just goes, "You smoke?"
Yeah.
She smokes.
Do you have a cigarette?
Yeah, like he's like holding on to it.
Must
So
I repeat the question?
I also love Gene Hackman faking the seizure, and he's like, "Fuck you, care." Puts the spoon back in his mouth. I like that bit too. Brooks, what you been watching lately? You still alive down there? What's up, man?
I haven't watched like many shows since Falcon Winter Soldier, but there's an anime on Netflix that looks pretty interesting. It's like about a black samurai. I think it's called Yasuke or something like that.
Okay.
And Castlevania season 4 is coming up, so I'm excited about that.
Good times.
I've been watching some movies. I kind of hit a highbrow movie phase.
There
I
you go.
watched
Oh, yeah?
Citizen Kane and Rashomon and
Nice.
Yojimbo. Like
Nice.
back.
Yeah.
Highbrow.
You
No
should just
wonder
destroy
you hated
it.
Iron Eagle.
Yeah.
You have to clean his palate.
Compared to Citizen Kane, this movie is slime.
I heard Paddington Bear 2 was better.
Better
I
than
heard that Paddington movies are actually pretty good.
No, there's a whole thing on was it IMDb where or Rotten Tomatoes where Citizen Kane lost its perfect rating and got defeated by Paddington Bear 2.
That's so fucking funny.
That's awful.
That's some Reddit shit, right? Like so the people
How's
got
Orson
together.
Welles supposed to compete with Paddington?
Yeah,
Rosebud, man.
I didn't think they were in competition, but apparently they were, and this is the world we live in now.
Everyone's in competition.
But yeah, you should ruin your good movie streak by watching that live action Tom and Jerry movie that came out recently.
Iron Eagle already ruined it.
It's pretty unwatchable.
Is it really?
Yeah?
I had high
Sure it
hopes for
would
it because
be.
it felt like a good movie that would have been placed in like 1996.
Yeah. It's just so nothing. And it's like and it's just like you gotta sit there and occasionally watch Scarlett Johansson's husband be a doofus.
Why did you watch this movie, Joe? Do you feel the need you have to watch it? Are you like, I gotta watch Tom and Jerry? Did you feel like you had to, or were you like, I'm so fucking curious, I gotta know?
I'm too ironic. That's the problem. I find myself in too many positions where I'm just like, oh, this movie looks terrible. I should watch it because it'll be ironic. And then I end up wasting half my life watching garbage.
Good job.
Nothing's wrong with that. Yeah.
No, and then it's like, but yeah, like, did you enjoy any? No, I didn't even think it was fun. It's like, why am I doing it? I don't know.
That's a damn shame.
Do you not hit a certain point where you just give up and you're like, I'm done. I'm out of this, right? Or at least you're like not writing scripts while you're watching Tom and Jerry, right? At least like
No, I believe I was drinking White Claws while I was
nice
watching Tom and Jerry. But yeah, I'm usually not. I mean, it does help you appreciate the good things in life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you watch something like Tom and Jerry, and then it's like you call your mom, you hug your best friend.
Huh.
You're like, life's too short, you know?
Yeah, you got to do this every once in a while to really appreciate the Akira Kurosawas of the world. You have to watch the Iron Eagles, right, Brooks?
Mm. I don't know. I don't know. Have to.
But I'm also just one of those people. Like, I won't turn that movie off. It could be the worst thing, and I'm like, I sat down. I'm 20 minutes in. That's it. I gotta say I finished this.
You're not gonna beat me, movie.
I'm gonna beat you.
I've hung out with people that can't do that. Like,
By the end of the movie, like there's blood coming out of your nose.
I can
Yeah.
stop movies if it's bad, and I'm still like watching. I'm like, oh, there's something else on now.
Like,
That's me. My attention span won't allow me to do it. I can't do it anymore.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
Mags
impatient.
is someone like that. I'll watch movies with Mags, and we could be 15. Sometimes we could be halfway through the movie, and she'll just be like, no, we can't do it. That happened to us. It was me, Mags, and B Con, and we were watching Son of the Mask 2, or Son of the Mask, rather. We got like halfway through, and we were just like, what if we just put on the original Mask, which is a much better film.
Yeah, and just be happy with that and live your life, not knowing how the end of that movie was.
We also, like, she couldn't get through the live action Leave It to Beaver movie that also had Shooter McGavin in it.
Nice.
I didn't know they made that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
That was like 2000s, early 2000s.
You know what else I watched recently? Meet the Applegates.
Well, I've never seen that. What is that?
No.
It's came out in like 1990, and it's these giant mantises pretending to be people in suburbia.
Okay.
And the bad guy is like the flamboyant friend of the family in Beetlejuice.
Okay,
like
yeah.
The heavyset guy, like he's the bad guy. And then it's so weird. It's Ed Begley Jr. is the lead.
Nice. Dude, you're selling me on the movie. I'm gonna tell you
like
right
a
now.
Conehead situation where they're like trying to blend in.
It's like Coneheads, but they're giant mantises.
I have never heard of this movie.
And
I probably haven't liked it out of my life.
And they have a dog, but it's actually like a giant fly disguised as a dog.
Okay.
Nice. I'm writing that one down. Meet the Applegates. It's got to be on Tubi. Everything's on there, right?
Everything's on Tubi.
It's got to be.
Yeah. No, it is.
All right, we're nearing show and tell time.
Well, all right. Well, you haven't asked me what I want. What I've been watching.
Okay, Jelani, go ahead. I said we're nearing show and tell time. But first, Jelani, what have you been watching?
No, not much, man. I don't know.
Oh, don't do this bit. What have you been watching, Jelani?
God, I watched a few things. I have Netflix again, so I was watching like old martial arts movies, like the Chinese martial arts movies. But one caught my eye that it was so horribly dubbed, but it was beautiful. It was called The Five Venoms, and it has no stars in it. It's just all Chinese actors, and it's about these five martial artists that are kung fu artists that hide in plain sight, apparently in this Chinese town. And each one of them has their own fighting style. One's like a lizard. One's a centipede. Fights the way of the centipede. One is like a scorpion. You know, it's far out there. It's just the strangest martial arts movie, but it has the best fight scenes I probably have ever seen. And just a straight up, just no name artist. I don't know any of these guys, but they were fighting their butts off. And Five Deadly Venoms is so awesome. And I really recommend it if you really want to see good straight up action as far as martial arts. Then we were supposed to watch a movie on John's birthday, but he backed out or some weird stuff happened. But I ended up watching it again last night, and it's an anime called Dragon Slayer. And Dragon Slayer is also on Netflix. Well, it was on Netflix for a while. It was a TV series, anime show. But the movie of it just came out called The Mugen Train, and it's about this
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. I did say Demon Slayer.
You said Dragon Slayer.
I didn't mean to say Dragon
You
Slayer.
did say Dragon Slayer.
Didn't mean to say Dragon
confused.
Slayer.
I was like, what's he talking about?
Sorry, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is awesome. It's one of the best animes I've seen. I gave this movie I'll give this one 5 dicks. But the series itself is fantastic. About this kid who goes out into the woods to sell his charcoal in his family, but he comes back and his family is horribly murdered by this demon, and it's like they have like 5 kids in the family along with their mother, and one of the children is turned into a demon, and it's so sad. It's like one of the saddest animes I've ever watched, but the art in it is done really well. But he trains for like 5 years to become this demon slayer that kills demons, and the main demon is basically looks like Michael Jackson. He's smooth criminal Michael Jackson, and the goal is
like Moonwalker shit,
like
man.
Moonwalker Michael Jackson. But he meets these friends along the way, and his sister is the only other survivor, but she's turned into a demon. And he protects her because all the other demon slayers want to kill her because she's of course a demon. And it's such a great show. I don't know how to explain any better than that. It's other than spoiling everything, but it's fantastic. The movie made me cry. The show, the first episode made me cry. There are episodes inside of it that it brings out so many emotions. So it's a great show. I suggest it to everybody as much as I can. But yeah, it's a great show. And then of course I saw Invincible, the last episode of Invincible for this season, and it was awesome. And I really suggest it now. I really like Invincible now. They got over that hump where I was really afraid that it was just going to be just ass kicking the whole time. And they do kick ass in the last episode, but it's towards the story and it makes a little bit more sense, and it kind of made me cry too. And then finally I tried to watch that Amazon movie or TV show Them. And I stopped at the first episode because it's a little too much for me to watch. The racism is a little too deep. Like it's like Lovecraft Country, but to 11. Okay. And it's horror. It's like a horror anthology where this black family moves to California, and they're the only black family in this all-white town, and they all hate her. They, all the neighbors hate them, and it's hard to watch.
Like super ramped up.
It's super ramped up and sometimes for no reason. And I'm like, that's just the first episode, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And there's a horror aspect in behind it, and the black family think that they're being terrorized by the people that are around them, but it turns out to be like an actual horror something that's trying to that kills their dog and all this other random stuff. So I was gonna try to watch it, but that's a little too much for me. I don't think I could do it. Chris Wallace like pushed it out to me, and I was like, I'll try to watch it. And then I watched it first, and I was like, nope, we're done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And you have a different experience than Chris does, for sure.
He said it make me mad, though. He said it make me mad. And he was right, because I was going to throw stuff at my screen. I was like, nope, not tear him up the TV.
Yeah, too much right. You don't want to break the TV. Yeah,
don't want to break the TV, man. Too much work. But
all right.
That's what I watched.
That's what we've been watching, everybody. That's awesome. Now it's time for show and tell. So show and tell. First up will be me, Rockin' Robbie. First up, hey Joe.
Hey.
I got this Marvel Fanfare 18.
Nice.
I read it because Joe said this was like one of the quintessentially most Captain America stories out there. Mm-hmm. Great Frank Miller cover, Frank Miller artwork, Joe Rubenstein doing the finishing, Roger Stern doing the script. Very solid. I covered it on my very first Marvel in the 80s segment.
Nice.
Last Sunday night.
That's great.
Hey Joe, I also got this Action Comics 554.
Nice.
Which Joe says is one of the best Superman comics ever written.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about Jerry and Joe having to create Superman, because if Superman didn't exist, someone would have to create him. So I'm really excited to dive into this. I'm covering that Sunday night. Got some new movies, y'all.
Ooh.
I got this new movie, The Joker. My bad, this isn't Joker. This is King of Comedy. This is the Martin Scorsese film that's a heavy influence on that Joker film. I got Revenge of the Nerds, y'all. Because it was like so cheap, I just couldn't not, resist it. Like,
you changed, bro.
I love that movie when I was a kid, man.
Bug.
This is great. Look at that steel book for Karate Kid I got. Cobra
Nice.
Kai edition.
Why is it the Cobra Kai side? Why did they make like a Miyagi one?
Because Cobra Kai never dies. That's why. But I couldn't get the first one without getting part 2. And why not? It was cheap enough. 3 and the next Karate Kid. So there you go. There's my show and tell for tonight. Station, everybody. Next up for show and tell will be Brooks. Show and tell. Show us what you've got.
Well, I found this today. It's a Legends figure.
Nice.
Excellent.
He's pretty pricey though. He's like $50.
Bro, imagine if that you could drink out of it though. If it was like a goblet or something.
It's like a chalice.
I've got the Toy Biz one.
Pop his hair off, drink out of him. Like, here's something. This is my Sega Genesis.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Figures, considering the whole Mallrats thing, it would be appropriate. Considering it's part of Brody's downfall.
Yeah. There's nothing like a woman scorned for Sega.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned for Sega. Also, I found this comic book.
Ooh.
Nice.
This is what.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
It's the ad. The ad I remember from back in the day.
That now. Now I remember it.
You dumb bastard.
It's a sailboat. It's a schooner.
So I got this from somebody the other day.
Oh.
It's a Sad Doom.
You kept my sad Dr. Doom.
Yeah, bro.
That was one of those I'm bored at work sketches, and then Brooks came in. I was like, Brooks, I did this for you.
Like, here you go. Just puts it in my comic bag. I'm like, thanks, dude.
Got a Robbie original.
And I saw my buddy Dane there. He just kind of randomly got this for me. It's a little refrigerator magnet with a bottle opener.
Nice.
Very nice.
That was funny because he has his little phone in his hand.
Oh, that's funny.
Ready to tweet.
And I bought some magic cards the other day.
Ooh.
And I found one.
Here we go.
There was a rare I found that just cracked me up. It's called Conspiracy Theorist.
Oh, nice. What does that card do? What does that card do?
What doesn't it do?
And
he's not going to tell us.
All my junk.
All right. I was wondering, seriously, what does that card do? What does the conspiracy theorist do?
Let's see. When conspiracy theorists attack, you may pay one generic and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Whenever you discard one or more non-land cards, you may exile one of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn.
It'd be better if it was like, if it was kind of,
that's not too bad.
it'd be better if it was kind of like a counter almost. It was like conspiracy theorist doesn't believe in your scientific facts. It doesn't work.
Amazing.
I think that would have been cool. All right, next up for show and tell, Joe.
Oh, hey, it is Joe. So one
got.
thing I got in the mail the other day, which I've been wanting to get for a little while, is the collected Neil the Horse.
Very cool.
This is a it says it's by Aaron Sabas here, but it's actually she had come out as trans right after this and goes by Catherine Collins. There's an introduction in this written by Trina Robbins, who is one of the like quintessential underground comics women, first woman to draw the Wonder Woman comic.
Nice.
And this is a collection of incredible comics that used to be published along through Dave Sims' grouping with Cerebus and all that as like backups.
Okay.
And,
yes, I remember that now.
Yeah, and this is also a musical. Catherine Collins actually wrote sheet music. I'll show you here that you could actually play on the piano to correspond with the comics you're reading.
Oh wow, that's
nice.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a just brilliant piece of comic work that is oddly memory hold and forgotten. It's brilliant art.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
It is just gorgeous. Very heavily influenced by the Duck himself, Carl Barks.
Nice.
And yeah, it is a sight to behold, this book. It is just
beautiful.
It is a gorgeous book.
It's a nice edition too, man.
Yeah, it's nice. It's all of it in one book. Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely, if you're not familiar with Neil the Horse, do yourself a favor. A lot of great underground comics came out in the 80s, and that's one of them that is often forgotten. So definitely check that out. I got this in the mail as a Kickstarter backer. The Scent of Rain by it's Ray Epstein. This is Marco Stack. Was the one who ran this. Marco Stack is one of those guys. He was in the first Deadbeats anthology, and he's been doing a lot of Kickstarters lately. He also is doing what was it? I think Youth is the name of it, but he's someone who, if he has a Kickstarter, I just back it, kind of thing.
Nice.
He's
with
great.
Kurt Pyers?
Not that one. That's no, that's
different Youth.
Yeah, let me pull it up because it's on Kickstarter right now. God, what is it? Young Offenders, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I was close. But yeah, I backed the first campaign of that. It's back on there now. Mark also delivers very quickly. I got this really fast, so
nice.
Definitely same thing with the other book I got from him. So consider backing stuff from Mark. Let me see some of the art here. It's cute. It's a cute little indie book here. It's got some nice stuff there going on.
Nice.
It's definitely an indie book. And then also I got this fairly recently, signed by Mark Basilla, Bob McLeod, and Dan Pinoja.
Nice.
Alpha Flight 106, where North Star screams, "I'm gay."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you want to see North Star being very angry over a dying AIDS baby and then screaming about how gay he is, pick it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's that going on the market now?
I hope not much.
Oh, I'm sure it's something. Because it's a late run Alpha Flight book, which would have been low print, right? So
I hope so. Again, it's just like that's yeah.
There are steps involved. That was a step, right, Joe?
oh yeah. I mean, the problem is the Pied Piper came out way better like 6 months before that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
In Flash 53. So
was that Wade? Who was that?
That was Bill Loebs and Greg LaRocque.
Oh, okay. The cat that did, in your opinion, a fantastic Wonder Woman run that you've been selling us on.
That Wonder Woman run, that Wonder Woman in space from
I'm telling you, man. Brian messaged me. Brian goes, dude, can you get me those Wonder Woman books by Loebs? I was like, of course, we'll get them in. Don't worry.
It's so good, especially as a follow up to George Perez, who I think did a fantastic job reintroducing Wonder Woman. The fact that Bill Loebs was able to do anything decent after we just want you to follow up someone who at this point is already considered a legend by everybody.
Yeah.
Right. It's like this is like over a decade after New Teen Titans started. So it's like he's already very well established to be like, well, no one is going to perceive this as a step up. So good luck.
Yeah, right. That's a hell of a job to take, right? Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Very nice show and tell. Appreciate that. Jelani, you're bringing us home, baby. Show and tell. Because you never disappoint.
Yay. All right. Well, I'll start off light. I'll get my Gorilla Grodd in here.
Ooh.
That's the Injustice McFarlane, Justice 2 McFarlane one. I love the detail of this. I mean, even his back looks great. He's freaking amazing. And he's all angry and stuff. So I like that. And then to go with him, I now own 4 T-Rexes.
Ooh.
Of the 4, this is the one with the least skin. This is my Paleotrex. This came with the Kingdom run for the Transformers wave. He's pretty cool because I didn't know I would like this figure, and then I saw a YouTube video of the review of this, and it sold me because he's like parts for the other Beast Wars figures that came out. I love him, but his head can also be used for Optimus Primal's mace.
Oh, nice.
So his head is pretty cool, and the mace in the show was pretty awesome. So yeah, I like it. They go together well. Then on the other Transformers front, I'll go to now my favorite Seeker is Thrust.
I love that figure, bro.
I love Thrust.
It's the most different looking one. I love it. I love that figure so much, man.
They all transform pretty much the same. I mean, basically, he's also Sandstorm. I mean, Sandstorm is pretty much the same head.
Yeah. It's the Coneheads, man.
It's the Coneheads.
Thrust and Ramjet, Ramjet and Dirge.
Ramjet,
as well.
Yeah. We need Dirge and Ramjet to come out so I can get those
they did the double. They did it like a 2-pack that was like a Target or an Amazon exclusive. They're super expensive now.
Never mind.
So,
I don't.
And they got the triple pack coming out with Neostorm, Acid Storm.
Nice.
And there's 3
they're
of
finally
them.
doing those 3, but they're like, are they actual jets?
They're the Cybertronian versions. Still cool though. I have a very strong affection to the Transformers.
Yes. Seekers are awesome. And then I got the new Megatron. He's all shiny. He's shiny. And he comes with blast effect. Actually. Yeah, this one looks way better than the other one.
That looks really fucking good, actually.
I
passed up on that.
Yeah, he's still a shitty tank though.
I don't care, dude. I actually passed up on that, man. That actually looks really freaking sharp, dude. But I'm like, how many Megatron figures can I own?
Right.
Come on.
Exactly. But this one is so far. This was the best. I really enjoyed looking at this one. And I also got the mini,
nice
core version of him. I like him better as this tank for some reason, so I just made him the small version of that tank. And then I'll go on to the Masters of the Universe. I finally got me an Orko.
Nice.
Oh, that's a nice little figure.
This is probably one of my favorite. I didn't know the stand was going to bring him out like that, but he looks awesome.
How else are you going to get people to pay $15-$20 for it, man?
Exactly. He needs magic effects, like something that he's screwing up.
The Super 7 one did.
And then, yeah, that's right. And then Trap Jaw.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
I like this Trap Jaw. I'm not a fan of his face, but his jaw moves. So I'm not against it.
The original jaw move too, Jelani, and that's a way better looking action figure. Go vintage, baby. Go vintage.
This is fine.
Join us. Go vintage.
I'm not
Screw the new one.
Not paying $80 for that. Then I get many faces.
Nice.
With this monster face, and then you turn his head and he's a robot face.
Ooh.
And then you turn his head again and it's a man face. He's many faces. And I found out he's an actor. I didn't know he was an actor. But it does make sense because he does, change faces.
It's the clay face, right? The clay face of the Motu world.
Yep. And then my prized possession, which now I'm screwing up because I lost it. All right, hold on 2 seconds. I got to do this. Because you know what this is, right? I'm sure you know
something that glows, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Is it? Yeah.
Oh, nice! You got the scare glow.
And I have to put the light on him so he can glow.
Look at that!
But
Beautiful.
I will not take him out of the package. I refuse.
Bullshit! Take it out of the package right now.
No, never. Yeah. If I get a second one, yes. But
when I get mine, y'all, I'm going to take it right out of the package. Trust me.
He glows. He glows better than the transparent, the transforming He-Man. He is amazing. That's
dope.
Really,
look at that.
Really glowy.
We can literally see it.
Yeah, you can see it. It's very bright.
It's good.
It's very awesome. But yeah, that's my show and tell, man.
Very nice. Very nice, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jelani, Joe, and Brooke. So real quick, final thoughts, Jelani.
Still Snoochie Boochies, man.
Snoochie Boochies,
man.
Right?
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Joe. Thank you so much, by the way, for joining us.
No problem. This was a lot of fun. Go back and check out Kevin Smith's catalog of work. I think Mallrats, the theatrical cut, is on Tubi for free.
It is.
So check it out. Have fun. And if you haven't watched it in a while, watch it again.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it answers the age-old question, does the thing have an orange dork? Anyway, what about you, Brooks? Final thoughts? And Juju?
Nothing for me this evening. No wisdom tonight.
No wisdom?
I fear.
Here are my final thoughts then.
But the dog will say, bye.
Okay, here are my final thoughts. I never farted in front of Renee, not once. Last week, I let one slip. Today, she dumps me.